Okay, what is up, everybody? It is Monday. It's the 27th of April. Welcome back. We are in day 26 of my COVID campaign for financial awareness. It's the final week. And you know what? It's a good time to actually be dealing with the coronavirus. We are getting through it. And you know what? Positivity is abound. Big up to New Zealand for actually proclaiming they have defeated the coronavirus. That is pretty damn cool. Now, mind you, New Zealand is an island nation, so it's probably a little bit easier. The population is smaller, but at the same time, though, sealing off their borders, making sure that they're self-sufficient is probably a little bit easier, but it's still pretty awesome to see a country, an industrialized country, no doubt, defeat the coronavirus. So I'm happy for New Zealand. I'm happy for us as we continue to flatten the curve. It looks like our fearless leader, Doug Ford, is going to actually announce a plan to open up the economy again. So that will be interesting to see how that turns out. I'm guessing it's going to go in phases, so we're probably going to have a phased rollout where people can go back to their places of work amid new safety measures such as disinfecting. Maybe masks are involved with that, but at the same time, it looks like manufacturing might start up again. It looks like essential workers or non-essential workers who can actually go to work and have been off work will go back, and that'll be good to jumpstart the economy again. And hopefully this phase plan over time will get us all back to doing the things we want to do. But for now, we are still in ISO mode, so I want people to keep doing what they're doing and keep isolating, because we are flattening the curve and the positivity is abound, and you will see that in our market update. So today we are actually going to be talking about toxic people and your money, and I'm going to go into a post that I released a couple of years back about toxic financial people and how they can affect your money. And in all reality, the problem with it is that most people allow toxic people to affect their money. The goal with it is to not let toxic people affect your money or your life in general. But first things first, let's jump into a market update. And like I just mentioned, positivity everywhere. We are looking at the TSX up 90 points, or almost 1%, or half a point, I'm sorry. The Dow Jones 290, so we're looking at a point there. And S&P and NASDAQ all up about 1%. So that is pretty impressive. This is all based on the fact that the tech companies are releasing their profits, which they have actually done quite well. So tech is carrying the load right now. Oil is still being very sluggish. We have major problems in the oil industry, but what this is actually doing is showing us the weakness of energy commodities and how they fluctuate with how we fluctuate. The world did not expect to have a 6-week or 2-month layoff from people using oil on a regular basis. So what this is doing is causing oil to fluctuate. The one thing that it's not doing is causing tech to fluctuate. In fact, we are probably using our technology more and more and more. Microsoft is booming. Amazon is going through the roof, obviously, because people are at home and getting things delivered that they used to go out and get, and oftentimes shopping too much. Please don't do that. But that is the case right now. So we are seeing the TSX, Dow Jones, S&P, and NASDAQ up. We are still down from our highs, which happened in early February, but we will get back there. It just might take some time. So I want people to be patient, and I want people to understand that this is why we don't leave the market, because on any sign of optimism, the market could come back to where it was and do what it was doing before any of this happened. And that's an important thing to understand, because you could miss these upswings that are actually bringing you back some of the capital that you did have, as long as you're just patient. And if I told you you had to wait 6 months to be back even, would you not do it? Of course you would. No one likes losing money on the market, but at the same time, it's only lost when you sell. If you stay in, you get it all back. And I want people to understand that. And I want people to do what they have to do during this time to make it through, but don't mess with your investments and actually put yourself in a worse position than you were before. Again, we're applying for the CERB. Fearless leader Trudeau has actually announced that they are extending and opening up the wage supplement, so 75% of people's wages, and this is for people who actually did not get laid off, or for companies that are attempting to continue to pay their employees. So that's a good thing. So companies can go and actually get that. Now, what you need to do as well is understand that you do not qualify for both. So if you are off work but your company is paying you through the wage subsidy, you cannot qualify for the CERB. So in that situation, it looks like it's an if or and factor where you have to make sure that which one is more conducive for you to making it through the month. And oftentimes it's the CERB. The CERB is that flat $2,000. So make sure that you're applying for May, because May is coming up in a few days. So we need to understand that you need to apply for May, put a bit of money away for your taxes at the end of the year, because it is a taxable benefit, and make sure that you're ready for that come next year. But take care of your house right now. Go apply for the CERB, get that benefit. And of course, we're always downloading the combo worksheet. I have that released every post. I'm sharing that. Make sure you're getting it. Hundreds of people have attempted to get their budget straight by using my worksheet that I give away for free. It's a great worksheet. I use it with my clients. I use it with everyone. So go get your worksheet. So let's jump right into my post. This is a very touchy subject. We all have friends, and in fact, you might be the financially toxic person. I know I am probably sometimes, but the big thing about it is that we all have friends and we all have people in our lives that could be financially toxic, and understanding how to deal with this situation is huge. Number one, you got to look after yourself. You're no good to anyone if you do not look after yourself. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself and you're not allowing financially toxic people to ruin your financial situation. Oftentimes people will blame others. It's no one's fault but your own. You need to realize what they're all about and actually eliminate them from your life. And that doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that you need to take care of number one. So let's jump into these 9 financially toxic people that I released a post about back in April of 2018. So just about 2 years ago. So first one, the animal. So the animal, this is the party animal that never got the memo that we're supposed to stop partying when we hit a certain age. We all had our heyday when we were in university. I know it continued on afterwards for some of us. It did a bit for me, but making sure that we actually release those toxic habits, including going out every night of the week. There is no point in doing that. It's a huge waste of money. Some people did not get the memo to slow down after college or university. So, while we used to be able to buy a Mickey of rum and a bottle of Coke while we were in school, now that is not enough. Now it requires a night out, round after round of pricey cocktails. And this person that you are chilling with oftentimes is costing you financially because you're spending too much money. Okay, so you need to make sure that you are actually eliminating a financially toxic person, the animal. And if you are the animal, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself, because that is going to get you in huge, huge trouble as you get older. You often find these people are after the age of 30 and they've racked up debt. They have no savings. They haven't done anything. And we need to make sure that even with good jobs, you can fall into the animal trait and just never grow up. And I see 40 and 50-year-olds that just never grow up and are still spending money and getting drunk every night or going out and partying every night and hitting worse things than alcohol. And in my opinion, you need to get rid of that. And if you're hanging out with someone like that, you need to limit your time with them. So make sure that you are not going out all the time on a regular basis. And if you hang out with someone that keeps dragging you out in the middle of the week to get wasted, there is no point to that. That to me is just foolishness. It's insane. If you do the math on it, it's huge. Even if you go out and spend $50 a week and you go out 4 nights a week, that's $200 a week. That's $800 a month. $800 a month, you're looking at $10,000 almost a year. That is a retirement, a well-stocked retirement fund. So you need to make sure that you are not spending money with these animals on a regular basis. It's just too much. You can't afford it. The Mooch. The Mooch. And I'm not talking about Anthony Scaramucci. I'm talking about the Mooch. So the Mooch is the person who comes around asking for shit all the time. You can't afford to have mooches in your life. Honestly, I'm ashamed to ask anyone for. I would rather. It's funny because when I didn't have an automobile, people would offer to drive and I would walk because I didn't want to ask for a ride. And even though it may have been on their way or whatnot, I just handled my own business. I hate mooching and I hate mooches. There's nothing good about a mooch. This person has no problem asking people for free. And then when the check comes at the end of the bill or at the end of dinner, they disappear, right? So anyone who's constantly broke or is constantly mooching money for you, it's a sign of bad character and it should be avoided at all costs. We all have these people in our life. You cannot help them. You can't help them. They need to learn that they need to take care of themselves. And someone that is mooching on a regular basis, it's definitely bad for your pocketbook. And hey, guys mooch off you all the time. Honestly, you would not believe how many women I see that are supporting a man. This, in my opinion, is just absolute bullshit. What is wrong with this scene? back 30, 40 years ago, you would have been kicked to the curb if you didn't have a job. Why all of a sudden is a guy a professional video game player, and in fact all he does is stay home and play video games? What is going on? I blame you women. You should have standards where you don't even allow a guy to be like this in your life. I don't understand it, but at the same time, make sure you shouldn't be there to support someone else. We're all grown-ups. Take care of your shit and make sure you're taking care of everyone else around you. And if you can't take care of everyone else around you, take care of your shit, okay? Let's be real, okay? The complainer. Oh, the complainer. The complainers are abundant, especially here in Canada. People love bitching about everything. They bitch about this. They blame this person. They blame that person for everything that's going wrong in their life. And to me, honestly, it's the biggest bullshit I've ever heard. We all complain, and sometimes it can be healthy. We need to let off some steam and then get back. But then we need to address the fact that, okay, this was bullshit. We need to figure it out. Let's move on. The people who complain are constantly complaining about everyone else or anything else. It's just so toxic and unbelievable. They always have something bad to say and never do anything about it. It's just unbelievable to me. They moan about their own financial problems, and yet you catch them unwillingly or willingly doing things that are harmful to themselves. They'll zap your energy, and they might even make you into a complainer and get you used to complaining, and you don't want to be that person. So you got to stay clear of these people, because falling into the complainer zone will kill your ambition. That's the huge thing about it, is that you won't want to be in the complainer zone, because what happens is that you focus energy on complaining instead of focusing energy on what can solve your problems. And we all have problems, but the problem is with it, when people focus energy on bitching about their problems all the time, they're not doing anything to solve their problems. And that's where the complainer will kill you. You don't want to hang out with the complainer, and you definitely don't want to be the complainer. And if you find yourself complaining about things too much, which we all do it sometimes, but if you find yourself complaining about stuff too much, then you got to get rid of the complainer status in your life. Start figuring out what is wrong and what you don't like in your life, and come up with plans to fix it instead of bitching and moaning about it. Honestly, it's toxic and it's gross and no one likes it. This is another one that people have, or people are bound by us. It's the sloth, the lazy MF, and this is the problem. Sloth is one of the 7 deadly sins. Laziness to me is completely undesirable. We have a whole society based on laziness. We have 4 people doing the jobs of 1 person, and oftentimes 3 of them are complaining about something. The sad part is laziness rubs off on other. If you're around lazy people, you find yourself becoming lazy like these other people. You need to get rid of the laziness factor. If this means you're not getting up and being active and doing the things you want to do, it's going to ruin your life. You don't want to be around these lazy-ass people too, because these people are going to zap your energy, and they're going to make you feel bad for being active and doing things that are bettering yourself. That's the problem with the sloth. In relationships, it's a huge, huge turnoff. We're actually seeing a lot of, again, men who are lazy MFs. Like, why are you so lazy? Get up and do something. We work for a large portion of our life, so free time needs to be as productive as possible. And a lot of people are using their free time to be lazy, lazy, lazy. They don't do anything around the house. They don't do anything to make their life better. Hell, read a friggin' book, but they can't even do that. They'll play a video game, or watch TV, or get binge-watch shows. This kind of thing, to me, is just completely undesirable. So we need to get rid of that. There's no reason not to work a full work week. That's another one. People work 40 hours a week, and then they're like, oh, I worked so much this week. You worked 40 hours. 40 hours is the minimum work week. If you worked 40 hours, that's the bare minimum work week to actually have a normal life. If you're working less than that, you have nothing to bitch about. I know people that work 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. I know people that work more than that. So the big problem with it is that people feel they can get ahead by not getting ahead and doing things that will actually make their life better, including working a full work week or more than a full work week, working overtime. And that's how you actually get ahead, is by putting in more time, not just actually working your bare minimum, which, let's be real, 40 hours is the bare minimum work week. So stop bitching about that. And that's the complainer as well with the sloth. So again, when you're calling in sick and faking, faking sickness to miss work, like, you're only hurting yourself. I've never, ever, ever called in sick, ever. Now, and that, to me, is not a badge of honor. It's because I've never been sick enough to call in, or been sick enough where I had to call in sick. Now, mind you, I worked in jobs where I could tough it out and do that, but at the same time, though, making sure that you're not crying wolf and being lazy is a huge, huge thing. Princess or the prince. These are the people that are entitled. Money is no object to the princess or the prince. This is the person who you know who makes less than you and is wearing brand names all the time. That to me is unbelievable. Every outing is a trendy spot that dings the wallet hard. There's constant vacations and getaways that leave you wondering how the math works out and how they can afford this shit. While some flock to people like this, do so at your own peril. You might start treating money like it's meaningless, or even worse, try to keep up with their lifestyles. You gotta get rid of the princess and the prince. They drag you into these weird outings that are way beyond the scope of what you can afford. Often the prince has a deep, dark secret, or princess has a deep, dark secret of massive debt. A good time out with your friends should not require a maxed out credit card. And people are putting vacations on credit cards. They're putting outings on credit cards. They're spending 10 years to pay off dinners. And that's unbelievable. Mr. Oblivious. So this is the person who has no clue they're in financial turmoil. You'll hear them often say something like, money is meaningless, or none of it matters anyway. These are people that say, oh, money is a figment of our imagination, or money is a tool that the rich use to oppress the poor. These are people that come up, they're often complainers too. They'll often come up with any excuse to make it seem that not knowing about their financial situation is okay. These people things to cover up their lack of intelligence or diligence in their own situation. Where you could falter is by putting too much heart into a person who is oblivious and doesn't care to gain the knowledge that they should be getting. That is something you do not want to do. You do not want to invest time and money on someone who's oblivious to their situation and has no desire to get better. That's huge. So it's going to lead to frustration, and it's going to lead to a hurt bank account. You want to get that out of your life. The know-it-all. The know-it-all. We have so many know-it-alls. I do this for a living, and people actually come to me and try and tell me what I need to do. People who actually have no qualifications and have no idea what they're doing are telling me why this is important, or why that isn't important, or why this is a faulty thing, or why investing in mutual funds is bad, or why life insurance is a scam, or why paying off your mortgage early is a scam. This is people that think they know it all, but in fact don't know shit. And these are the people that in fact actually get hurt in the long run. They give you advice when it's unsolicited. I honestly hate when people give me unsolicited advice. If I want your advice, I'll ask for your advice. Don't give me your unsolicited advice. Oftentimes, it's some bullshit that actually doesn't make sense. And to me, you know what? I look for advice from successful people. I don't look for advice from unsuccessful people. Or I look for advice from people who are unsuccessful and could teach me a lesson if they have a true heart and are willing to admit that they're unsuccessful at something. Such as people who have had a failed relationship. I will look to them to teach me what they did wrong if they are honest with themselves. Beyond that, I have no desire to learn anything from people who have no level of success. What's the point? What can you teach me? You can't teach me shit. Because obviously if you could teach me something, you'd be doing it yourself. So you either know and aren't doing it, or don't know and are lying. So what's the point? It's a whole bunch of garbage. So for me, the know-it-all, these people can actually just go away. I have no use for them anyway. That's the huge thing. The daydreamer. So all ideas, no gumption. These are people who will actually come up with harebrained schemes to make money. These are people that are always trying to get you to invest in their crappy MLMs or their weird new ideas. And these are people who have no effort to put into their actual ideas, but at the same time, they're always coming up with ideas to be successful or do something. Instead, when they actually could come down to it and do some hard work, then they would strike out on their own and do well. Oftentimes, these grand ideas come at a cost, and they're always coming at a cost of your time. Whether it's not it's your money or it's your time, it's costing you in the long run. The daydreamer doesn't think things through, and you need to make sure you don't get caught up in their dream. Don't invest your money in their dream. If they actually had a great dream and they actually had a great idea, they would be putting forth the effort, and someone would pick up on that and invest in them. You do not need to do this. This is not your MO. The nosy person. This nosy person, oh my lord. I am so sick of nosy people. Handle your own business. We all have problems. We all have skeletons. We all have things that we've done that we're not proud of. And we all have things that we're trying to work on and make better. Nosey Person is constantly asking you about your business. They're constantly asking you about your personal financial situation. Constantly asking you about everything that you're doing. Oftentimes they're the mooch or they're the complainer or a combination of multiple things. This person is always, always, always up in your business. The nosy friend is only out for information, offered to either compare themselves to you or criticize what you are doing. This person will often try and knock you down a peg to make themselves feel better or make other people think you are worse and then therefore they're better. That is what nosy people are all about. So make sure you're eliminating nosy people out of your life. Honestly, if I have something to tell a friend, I will tell them. You don't need to ask me, I will tell you. And the nosy person and gossiping about money, it's gross and it should run anyone from, you got to run from anyone who's like this immediately. It's a bunch of bullshit. So that is my post on 9 financially toxic people to avoid. I'm also including this post, and this is from goodfinancialsense.com. This is smart ways to deal with financially toxic people. And oddly enough, there's 9 of them as well. And this was released in February of this year. So number 1, you keep your time with them at a minimum. That's huge. Spend less time with people. Once you identify their toxic financial traits, spend less time with them. Keep your time with them at a minimum. That is huge. Keep the number of financially toxic people in your life to a minimum. So we all have friends that we grew up with, and we all have people that are in our lives and have been in our lives for a long time. We need to make sure we're keeping our time with the financially toxic people to a minimum so we can actually focus on ourselves and focus on making our lives better as opposed to making them worse. And this is the thing. You don't want multiple financially toxic people in your life because you'll pick up on those traits and then you'll start to be financially toxic yourself. And you do not want that. Also, we need to make sure that we use them as an object or a lesson, what not to do in your own life. There's nothing wrong with having friends who are financially toxic, but make sure you keep them at a distance in terms of your own finances and you use them as a lesson. There's nothing wrong with being bad with money. Well, there is something wrong with being bad with money, but if you're bad with money, seek out help. If you don't desire to seek out help, actually accept that you're bad with money and you're going to suck with money and not do well with it. Don't blame other people. Don't take other people down with you. And honestly, if that's the life that you're okay with living, I have nothing wrong with the choices that people make in their life as long as they're not hurting anyone else. The big thing is when they drag other people down with them or are a nuisance to other people or are just straight up dicks. So the big thing that we need to understand is that if you have a financially toxic person in your life, doesn't mean you can't be their friend. What it does mean is that you have to use them as an example as what not to do as opposed to actually continuing to chill with them or continue to do your thing with them. So use them as an example. And in fact, as long as you're not vested too much in your heart into what they're doing, it's not completely bad for you to have a financially toxic person in your life. But again, limit how many of them you have. Do not try and keep up with their spending habits. I've told you that before. There's people that are more than willing to use every cent they have to go on vacations they can't afford, even since they don't have, i.e. racking up debt. Do not try and keep up with their spending habits. You won't be able to keep up. Ignore their financial advice. This is the know-it-all that I mentioned in my post. Someone who gives you financial advice and can't rub 2 cents together, what is the point of what they have to say? No, like seriously. Why do people give advice when they actually are broke? Broke people should not give financial advice. Straight up. Broke people should not give financial advice. Take financial advice, learn, and then when you get out from being broke, then give financial advice. That's what I did. I got out from being broke, and now I give financial advice. When I was broke, I couldn't give anyone financial advice. What am I going to say? This is how you be broke? Learn from me at that point. But beyond that, there's no advice I could give to actually help anyone. And recognize that. Don't do business with them. Again, you need to actually respect the character of someone you're doing business with. You have to respect the character of someone you're doing business with. If you don't respect their character, what's the point? It's just going to drag you down and make you miserable. Never lend them money. That's a huge one as well. Okay, you need to get into the mindset that if you're lending someone money, you are okay with it never coming back. In my mind, there's no money you lend. The only time that may or may not be okay is if it's family. It's a little bit different. Parents help out their kids. Kids oftentimes will help out their parents. That's one thing. But if you're lending a friend money, expect that it will never come back. And that's the one thing people need to know is that if someone's borrowing money from you, oftentimes it's not the money that's the issue, it's the habits that they have that are the issue. They need to correct those as opposed to getting the money that will solve their problems. That's a huge thing. Recognize that people may have a hidden agenda, and this is constant. This is a normal thing. People do have hidden agendas, and people are often working from their hidden agendas and using them as the way they interact with you. So make sure if someone has a hidden agenda, you recognize it. Doesn't mean you need to call them out on it. It just means you need to tread carefully around them. And for me, if someone has a hidden agenda, I'm not one to call them out on it. I'm also limiting their effect on me with what they do. So understand people have hidden agendas, accept that fact. It doesn't mean oftentimes that they're a bad person. It just means that maybe all they understand is what they need and what they want, and they're not taking you into account with that. So know people have hidden agendas, act accordingly. Stay focused on your own agenda. Honestly, if your train is moving forward, oftentimes the financially toxic people will just scatter away, and then you wonder why you haven't talked to someone in a long time. Oftentimes it's they haven't talked to you because they're intimidated by the success you have, or that the ambition you have, or the good mood that you're always in, or what you're trying to do with your life. People get intimidated by that. You will lose people if you are becoming financially successful. You will lose the non-financially successful people because they don't like being around people who are like that because it makes them feel bad about their situation. So if they're actually attacking you, you understand what they're about. Oftentimes, if they're silent, you get to see what they're about as well. So make sure that you're understanding that. Sorry. Excuse me. So that is Good Money Sense post on how to avoid financially toxic people. Included in this as well, I'm going to give you my one-page financial plan. This is a great post that I use with my clients on how to create their own one-page financial plan. I'm big on one-pagers. I love one-pagers. Condense it on one page. Give me the meat, and then I can show you later what everything else is all about. But the key points are always fitting on one page, and it helps people understand easier if everything's laid out on one page. And of course, how to retire relevant. Step 2, this is debt. Eliminating your financial burdens of debt to make sure that you're getting to where you want to be. That is a massive thing. You cannot get to where you want to go in life if you're accumulating debt on a regular basis. So make sure that you read step 2 of the relevant retirement system on debt. And tomorrow I'm going to jump into the one-page financial plan and actually help people understand what it takes to create their own one-page financial plan and go from there, okay? So one last check on the markets before we take off for the day. More positivity. The TSX is now almost up a full percentage point, and Dow and S&P and NASDAQ are all up 1 full percentage point. So markets are positive today. This is based on the fact that the economy is going to be reopening soon, hopefully at least by the end of May. And then we'll be back to a point where people are spending their money, hopefully making money, have their jobs back, not relying on the government dime, and making sure that we're actually moving forward with our economy and getting to where we want to be. So this is the markets for today. We're looking at percentage points all around. Very, very good. So amazing, amazing, amazing thing. Thank you very much. So I am glad that this is actually happening, and we're looking towards that. If you want to get a hold of me, you can actually go on Facebook. You can shoot me a DM. I get DMs every day about people looking to update their finances. Also, I am on the Twitter at Joe Budget Boss on Twitter. IG as well at Joe Budget Boss, and all the videos are on IGTV, so you can actually look at these. So I'm not just live, these videos are actually being documented and put into IGTV. They're also on YouTube, where I am posting every day for the COVID campaign, and we got 5 videos left, 5 days left. So that is our 30-day campaign, and we'll see what happens after that, because I have a feeling I might be doing more videos after that. So that is what's up with that. And you can also reach me at budgetboss.ca/contact. You can sign up for the email list or book an appointment directly with me to make sure that you are going after your finances in a responsible way. I'm more than happy to look at your investments and help you out, and I'm more than happy to look at your insurance and see if we can save money on that, which is step 4 of the relevant retirement system. As much insurance as possible at the cheapest price as possible, and also looking at your mortgage to see if we can save you money on your mortgage. So that is my post today. I want everyone to have a great day. It's a beautiful day outside, so I might just go for a drive, drop into the office, check my mail. It just gets me out of the house because I need to get out of the house because I've been in the house way too damn long. So enjoy this beautiful day in Southern Ontario. Make sure that you're actually continuing with the social distancing. You're continuing isolating if you can. If you need to go out for a walk on your own, spend time on your own, or with the people within your household. Make sure you continue to do that, because it looks like we're continuing on and stopping the curve of this disease, which is actually starting to get to me a little bit. 6 weeks in this crap, so we need to get out of it. We need to make sure that we're actually attacking this and continuing to do that things that we're going to do. So we're actually going to see our man Doug Ford pretty soon release a new timeline on what we're going to do to kickstart the economy again. So I'm happy about that. And make sure you're checking out my posts on financially toxic people. And honestly, if you fall into those categories, don't be ashamed. Recognize it, try and eliminate those habits, and be good to the people around you. So have yourself a great day, guys. Peace.